if you want to design any pages, we will go for Visual Force pages. Now, if there is a sequence of steps involved, then if I have to design multiple number of pages, transferring the data from one page to another page will become complex. If there are sequence of steps involved, then transferring the data from one step to another step will become a complex process. When there are sequence of steps involved, transferring the data from one step to another step will become a complex process. To avoid this complexity, people are going for flows with the plugins. Look at these flows: setup, build, create, workflows and approvals, setup, build, create, workflows and approvals, flows. New flow. Then screen, drag and drop the screen, first page, add a field, what I'm doing, I'm designing a page. Then we have drop down list, choose an option, your choice, none, choice, this is how your field. So in this last screen I'm creating, I want to display all the values. So what is that? Using a drag and drop, we are able to display. Now I'm going to display the value, input, first name, screen inputs, last name. Last name, first name, amount, choice. So out of this group of things, what is the first one? When I click on the green button, it becomes a first screen. Save. So what we have done, we designed a sequence of steps just with a drag and drop model. Run. Next. Next. Got it? When I click on the finish, it goes to the. So it's a sequence of steps. When you have a sequence of steps, instead of designing with the Visual Force page, we can design them like a drag and drop model. Instead of designing using a Visual Force page, we can design them using a drag and drop model, which is nothing but a flow. Are you clear about this? But the problem with this flow is cannot perform calculations. You cannot write a logics here. You cannot perform a calculation. Screens can only be designed if you want to implement what we are supposed to do. If you want to implement what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to. If you want to implement, we are supposed to go to plugin. So it is only designing a pages. If you want to perform any calculations or anything, we need to go for the plugin. What is a plugin? Plugin is an Apex class which will take the data from the flow, read the value, perform the calculation, return the value. Take the value, perform the calculation, return the value. Are you getting my point? So let us see this. So if you want to go for plugin, I told you flow we have seen. Flows will create screens. When you enter the data, data will go. When we enter the data, it will go to the Apex class. In the Apex class, the logic will be performed, come back. Because flows cannot implement a logics. Flows cannot make a calculation. It cannot make a calculation, it cannot implement a logics. If you want any logic or a calculation, I need to transfer to the server, which is nothing but a plugin. Now look at this. I have a flow here. I have a Apex class here. Now I am giving this is screen number 1. When I click on next, it has to go to plugin, calculate the value, return some output. Then whatever the output I gave, that will be displayed in the second screen. So what happened? From flow, I am entering the data. Whatever the data I am entering, this data should go to plugin. How this data will go? This data will go as a process.plugin request. Whatever the data we are entering here, if I want to send this data to plugin, that should be sent like a process.plugin request. Process.plugin request, where we have map of string comma object. Why did I take object? Why did I take like an object? Because look at this. One string value is coming, one integer value is coming. Now other value may be decimal, another value may be boolean. When you are not sure what type of value we are going to take, it is going to be object. Okay. So from flow, whatever the data you want to transfer to plugin, that will come like a process.plugin request. Now from plugin, I made a calculation. Whatever the output I want to give, it is also sent like a whatever the output I want to send, it is also kept like a result. It is sent to the flow here. Now how this output is sent? Output is sent like a process dot plugin result. How this output is going to be? Map of string comma object output parameters, right boss? Input parameters, output parameters. Now the from flow, whatever I want to give to plugin, that will go like a process dot plugin request. From plugin, whatever I want to return back to the flow, that is given as a process dot plugin result. Process dot plugin request, process dot plugin result. Process dot plugin request, process dot plugin result. Process dot plugin request, process dot plugin result. Are you clear? From flow, whatever I want to give to plugin, it is in the plugin request. From plugin, whatever I want to give to flow, it is in plugin result. Both of them are taking the data in the form of map of string comma object input parameters, map of string comma object output parameters. Now it is in the form of string comma object because I don't know what type of values I am going to get. I don't know what type of values I am going to return. That is the reason I have taken object. I hope you are clear. So flow to plugin data will go like process dot plugin request. From plugin data will come back to the flow as process dot plugin result. I hope you are good. Let me give you. So we have plugin implements process dot. If a class want to become a plugin, the class has to implement process dot plugin interface. If a class want to become a plugin, class has to implement process dot plugin interface. Class has to implement process dot plugin interface. Class has to implement process dot plugin interface. When a class is implementing a interface, it has to define the methods in the interface, right? So what are the methods we have? Process dot plugin result, invoke, so what was that? It will take a request object, return the result object. It will take a request. What is the plugin request? From flow, whatever the inputs you are sending, that is in plugin request. Take the values, calculate, give the output as process dot plugin result. Invoke method, take the inputs, return the output. The second method what we have is public process dot plugin. Process dot plugin describe result. Plugin process dot plugin describe result. Process dot plugin describe result. This will give the description. Process dot plugin describe result. Process dot plugin describe result. So these are the two things what we have. Invoke method, we have describe method. Invoke method, we have describe method. Let us take the first one. How to read the inputs? Map of string comma object input is equal to request dot input. In the request, process dot plugin request, what is the variable we have? Input parameters. I told you already, input parameters. In the process dot plugin request, there is a variable called input parameters, which will contain all the inputs given from the flow. Input parameters. Then how do you take one by one input? string name equal to inputs dot get off decimal. So they are giving a name. They are giving name map dot get off name coming in the form of object, which I am converting in the form of string. Inputs dot get off age coming in the form of object, converting in the form of integer. Then what I am doing? If age is above 30, object. Object. Then result map dot put right. Now what is that? From plugin request, I was taking inputs, wrote a logic. I was putting the result in the form of map. Then what I am giving? Process dot plugin result equal to new process dot plugin result. Now look at this functionally what I wrote. Let me know if you have any query in this. Before I go further, let me know if you have any query in this. What is the first statement I have done? Invoke method will read the parameters from the plugin result. Then what was that? Take one by one input parameter, take input parameters, then convert the flow, convert the object into then we wrote a logic. If age is above 30, do this, else do this. So what is that? Whatever the result we want to pass, whatever the result we want to pass, convert into then put a process dot plugin result equal to new process dot plugin result map. Go through the code. If you have any queries in this code, let me know. We'll get into main code. This is only sample. Right. Any queries from your end? Right. Okay. Now process dot plugin describe result. What this plugin describe result will do? Listen carefully. Boss, code seems to be lengthy now. Is same word is going to repeat again and again. Okay. First, process dot plugin describe result dot input parameter. There are three parameters: param 1, param 2. Now what was that? Now we have process dot plugin describe result dot input parameter, parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3. Parameter 1, name of the input parameter. Parameter 2, type of the input parameter. When you say type, it will be like this: process dot plugin describe result dot parameter type dot process dot plugin parameter type string like this. We will specify parameter 3, required or not. We are going to give true. Yes, it's a must that you have to pass this value. So with these three parameters, we are going to create one input okay, input. Now look at this: process dot plugin describe result dot input parameter. Process dot plugin describe result dot parameter, name of the parameter, type of the parameter, string, right? Second input, process dot plugin describe result parameter age, this is how we are clear. I hope you are good with this. Process dot plugin describe result dot input parameter, and we are able to perform this. Right. So like this input parameters we are going to create. Now if you go to this process dot plugin describe result will tell you, process dot plugin describe result will tell you list of inputs what we are using and the list of outputs what we are using. So what are the inputs we are using here? Name, create. input parameter. Then we have parameter type. Again, display result. Input parameter. Then I have age. We have input parameter, output parameter. These are the two input parameters. Put them in the list. List of type inputs equal to plugin describe result dot parameter type. This is how we created the input parameters. The next one, we are going to the next one. Inputs. Similarly, we have to define output parameters. How you define output parameters? Process dot plugin describe output parameter. What is the output parameter you are taking? Salary and decimal. There will be no required or not required. Output parameter bonus. Now simple. Now if you look at this, same words are repeating. Seems to be lengthy, but the word is same. Most of the time, look at this. Process dot plugin describe result. If you remove it, this only this one. Process dot plugin describe result. If you remove it, okay. Process dot plugin describe result. If you remove it, output parameter. Are you getting my point? Now it looks lengthy because of the same word are repeating. Same words are repeating. Okay. Finally, put all the outputs in a list. List of outputs equal to new list of process dot So what we got? List of inputs, list of outputs. Now these inputs and outputs I have to put it in process.pluggn describe result. This is a class which will contain list of inputs what we are using, list of outputs what we are using. So result dot parameter is equal to inputs. Result dot output parameter is equal to. What did I do? I have created all the inputs in one list, created all the outputs in one list, put them to the process.pluggn describe result. Okay, to make it understandable, first create one input parameter, write the code to create an input parameter city, create an input parameter city. Create a input parameter city, create a input parameter city, create a input parameter city. How did you create that? Process dot plugin describe parameter 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 type. This is what we got. I hope you are good with this. Similarly, create output parameter, create output parameter age, create output parameter age, create output parameter age. Right, boss? How did you create output parameter? Right. Then we have is the output parameter we don't give true or false. Just two parameters, right? People have got this. Now let me implement complete requirement one more time. Look at this. First, if you want to make any Apex class as a plugin, if you want to make any Apex class as a plugin, what we should do? If you want to make any Apex class as a plugin, if you want to make any Apex class as a plugin, class implements process.plugin interface. If you want to make any Apex class as a plugin, class implements process.plugin interface. Class implements process.plugin interface. Then what we are going to do? Public plugin result invoke. Process.plugin request, okay. Process.plugin result invoke process.plugin request. What is the first one? Fetch all the inputs from the flow. How do you do it? Map of string comma request dot then read the name value. So you want to take, let us say, experience value. This one inputs dot get off. In the map, how do you get the value? Map dot get off key. Read okay. Then create a logic decimal salary create a map. Result map equal to then we have created salary bonus. Outputs dot put salary, outputs dot put bonus. Then we are going to put outputs. Now, anyone has any query? Output has to be in the form of what? They are expecting the result in the form of process.plugin result. So I have created a process.plugin result, but they are expecting a parameter. What is the parameter? Map. They are expecting a parameter called map. So I gave outputs. They are expecting a parameter called map, which I gave outputs. They are expecting a parameter. They are expecting a parameter map, which I have given here. Process.plugin result outputs. I hope you are good with this. People are good with this. Okay. Now what is the next one we have? Public process.plugin describe what it gives. About the input parameters. This will give description about input parameters and output parameters. What I'm doing? Input. What is the input parameter you have taken? First age. Age is going to be process.plugin describe lot. Parameter type process.plugin describe result dot parameter type. Process.plugin experience. Parameter type so experience. Parameter type decimal. So what I'm going to do, put all the inputs here, list of that input parameters, input 1, input 2. Similarly, define the output parameters. Parameter. What is the output parameter we are giving? New process dot again output parameter bonus. Again describe result. Describe result process dot plugin describe result dot parameter type. So inputs, outputs, inputs and outputs. So there is some spelling mistake. Let me cross check. Number 27. Then put all the inputs, put all the outputs in a separate list. Output parameters. Then we are giving then all the inputs, result dot input parameters. Then what we have here, process dot plugin describe result, input parameter, result dot output parameter. Mistake was from line number 33. Variable does not exist. Input variable output parameter. What are the inputs I give? Output parameters. Then inputs dot get. Fine, boss. So this is the plugin. Now what we are supposed to do? Invoke this plugin in the flow. So let me create a flow. Setup, build, create, workflows and approvals. Enter age required. Then I have scroll down. You scroll down, you find plugin example. Drag and drop. Inputs. Age. What is the age I give? Enter age. Experience they're asking. So I pass age and experience as input. Now what I'm getting? Outputs. What is the output we are getting? Bonus. Where you want to store the bonus? Create a variable. One more output we are getting. What is that? Create a variable. Then I want to display output. We give this. We give the sequence of steps. Now in between, what is this plugin? It is taking the inputs, giving the outputs. Whatever the outputs we got, we create them like a variable and we are going to use it. Click on the screen. Then save it. Flow demo. Then go back, close it. Flow demo. Go to the VF page. Flow interview. Name equal to finish location. Finish location equal to so in the VF page we are calling what? Flow interview. Name equal to name of the flow. When you click on the finish button, this is the page to which it has to go. Age, bonus value. Why the bonus is not coming properly? Bonus value is not coming properly now. Probably I not saved properly. Maybe in the flow I have not saved properly. Go back to this. Open. Here we have bonus, variable. The text I might not have changed it to text. text 2. Number, input and output. Perfect. What is the problem here? Okay, maybe some conversion errors. Fine. So what we are doing was flow. We have called a plugin into this. We are making a calculation and the output is given. Why are you using a plugin here? Because calculations cannot be made from flow. Calculations cannot be made from flow. If you want any calculation, it has to go to plugin. Now look at this. We got a URL here, right? Copy this URL. Go to any object, buttons and links, new button, test, URL. I'm opening a URL. Save it. Go back to the lead. I give a URL. Edit layout. Buttons. Click on. This is how we are invoking it, right? So we can invoke a flow from buttons here, or I can call it from the Visual Force page. I can call from the Visual Force page. I can call from the buttons. Okay. Now I will also tell you one of the requirement. Let us say when you are logging in, generally what happens? Username, password, you enter. Then you want to enter some verification code. I will send one verification code to email. I will send one code to SMS. When you enter both the codes, then only allow him to log in. Right? In that case, what should I do? That means you want to add extra set of authentication. Look at this. Build, administrator, security controllers. We are having login, new login flow. Type flow demo. For which user? Salesforce license user. For which profile? Student profile. For student profile, I gave that format. So what I will do, I'll try to log into student account. So what happened? Got it? Now generally there, what should I do? Email program, web service program I'll write. I'll write an email program, web service program. Using email I'll send one random code. Using SMS I'll send one random code. Then enter the email code, enter the SMS code. Then you enter this, click on finish. They'll verify both are matching or not. Then log in. Otherwise throw error message. Got my point here? Am I clear with this? Right? So in case if you want to add any extra set of authentication for your application, if you want to add any extra set of authentication, then we'll use this. What was the concept called? Login flows. Okay. Generally, when you go for partner communities, customer communities, verification codes will be sending. There will be helpful to you. This is additional set of authentication. If you want to go for additional set of authentication, right, boss? Fine. See, the point is code seems to be lengthy, but concept is simple. Okay, and